Mr. Maria.Caulfield.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I start by saying how delighted I am once again to have the opportunity to take part in this important debate. And I'd like to thank all honourable and right honourable members for such powerful contributions this afternoon. There are just too many to single out, but how poignant it was to have both the mother and the father of the House taking part in the debate today. While, Madam Deputy Speaker, International Women's Day is an important opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women in the UK and around the world, it is also an opportunity to look at what more needs to be done. This year, COVID-19 is the biggest challenge the UK has faced in decades, and everyone across the country has been touched by it in some way. And we've heard this afternoon many examples of extraordinary women who've been at the forefront of the fight against this virus, including those working to keep us safe in the NHS, many of whom I've had the privilege to work alongside on the COVID wards during this period, and I pay tribute to their incredible efforts, bravery and strength. The United Nations theme for International Women's Day this year centres on women's leadership and the importance of securing an equal future in a COVID-19 world. We cannot underestimate the importance of this approach as we build back better following what has been a challenging year for many. The economic impact of the past year is complex and emerging, but as the Office of Budget Responsibility, the Bank of England and the IMF have all recognised, our economic response is making a difference. It's saving jobs, it's keeping businesses afloat, and it's supporting people's incomes. But in order to protect jobs for women who are more likely to be furloughed, the government have rolled out unprecedented levels of support, particularly in crucial sectors like retail and hospitality that employ high numbers of women and those from ethnic minorities and younger people. And the Self-Employment Income Support Scheme has provided support for many of the 1.7 million self-employed women in the UK. And as of January the 31st, the scheme has received nearly 2.1 million claims from self-employed women across the 3 rounds of grants. However, despite the progress in changing the stereotypical views of women's role at work, evidence shows that during the pandemic, many women have been pressured into balancing work with childcare and homeschooling. And to help with this, the government has enabled employers to furlough parents who are unable to work due to the closure of schools, nurseries and childcare services. And I know many will want to welcome and thank those who've worked so hard for the reopening of schools safely this week. On the theme of women's leadership in a COVID world, we have seen some real-life heroines in the STEM sector. Women like Kate Bingham, chair of the UK Vaccine Task Force, or Dr. Jenny Harries, the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, or Professor Sarah Gilbert, who designed the Oxford vaccine. These women have quite literally saved lives, saved our economy, and quite frankly, saved our way of life and are role models for the next generation of women. And if we want to inspire young women, it is vital that we start early, and that's why we continue to encourage girls to take STEM subjects at schools, colleges and universities. And while there is work to be done, there has been a 31% increase in girls' entries to STEM A-levels in England in the last 10 years. However, during the debate this afternoon, violence against women has featured heavily in this debate, and the last 48 hours have hit home for all of us. And as the Honourable Member for Canterbury so well put it, today we are all Sarah, and my prayers and thoughts are with her and her family at this time. Women and girls are still suffering from unacceptable violence, and I would like to pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Birmingham Yardley, who unfortunately has become a sombre but important tradition in this House. Today, reading out the names of all women killed by men in the last year, and her list seems far longer than sadly it was last year. I hope she does not take this the wrong way, but I look forward to a year where she's unable to make a contribution to this debate. Because the home should be a place of safety and comfort, but for many it is not. And during this pandemic, the government has listened to charities and the Domestic Abuse Commissioner, and in last week's budget we announced an additional £19 million worth of funding to tackle domestic abuse, with £4.2 million for a 2-year pilot project of respite rooms to provide specialist support for vulnerable homeless women. The landmark Domestic Abuse Bill has been at report stage in the House of Lords this week, is on track to receive royal assent by the end of April, and we will be publishing our new Tackling Violence Against Women and Girls strategy in the spring. This will help to better target perpetrators and support women of these crimes. The government takes all forms of harassment extremely seriously, whether it's in the workplace, in the home or on the street. And I pay tribute to those across government, up and down the country, working to make the UK a safer place for women. As the Right Honourable Member for Basingstoke said, harassment is too regular an experience for women. And I'm inspired by many young women campaigning on these vital issues. And in particular, I want to pay tribute to my own constituent, Maya Tutton, and the Our Streets Now campaign, who are working hard to raise the issue of street harassment and the impact it is having on the daily lives of younger women across this country. And the tragic news of Sarah Everard this week emphasises their point. And so I welcome the statement by the Home Secretary today, reinforcing the government's commitment to protecting women and girls from violence and harassment. But it's not just physical abuse that women have faced during the pandemic. We know that more people have spent time online, and while there have been many benefits to this, there of course have been greater risk of harm. And the Honourable Member for Highburn so eloquently put how many female MPs, in fact, if not all of us, know only too well about the reality of online abuse and the constant toll of negative comments which people would never be brave enough to say to your face. Online abuse is unacceptable, and our approach will make platforms responsible for tackling abuse online, including anonymous abuse, while protecting the rights of freedom of expression. There is also more to do to improve the lives of women and girls internationally, as the Right Honourable Member for Sutton Coldfield and the Honourable Member of Wealdon emphasised. And one of our most visible commitments to this is ensuring 12 years of quality education for girls around the world. This is the most transformational development. And having volunteered, you'll laugh at this bit, in Rwanda on Project Umubano, teaching English in schools, I've seen firsthand the difference education makes to women. There are perhaps a few Rwandan women, Madam Deputy Speaker, speaking English right now with a slight Cockney twist, thanks to my efforts. But education is the key to breaking down barriers for women. And in the last 10 years, the UK has supported at least 15.6 million children gaining a decent education, over half of which are women. In conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, can I once again thank all those who have contributed to this debate this afternoon, and can I thank my Right Honourable friend, the Right Honourable Member for Basingstoke, for securing this debate.